Welcome everyone to Thursday Night Lights. Tonight, we're going to talk about the full moon in Capricorn on June 21st. If you're catching this live, it is today, June 13th, Thursday, June 13th, 2024. We are a week into our new moon in Gemini cycle, the waxing moon from the new moon in Gemini that we had on June 6th. So the stuff we're going to be talking about today, it's for next week. If you're catching this live, it's for the 21st of June, but I'm giving you essentially a week to get a leg up on what is to come so you're more prepared. Hello, Pam. Nice to see you. It's almost the weekend. It's the pre-kend. Yeah, happy pre-kend. So we'll talk about the full moon that we have in Capricorn, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So do enjoy. For those of you who are new to my channel, I'm Joshua the Psychic. I do psychic astrology readings, coaching, parties, either via Zoom or in Los Angeles, and you can get gift certificates for all of the favorite people that you have in your life. And also my website, psychicsun.com, you can find your horoscopes for not only the lunation next week, your Capricorn full moon, but also for your lunation that we're in currently now, the Gemini new moon that was on June 6th. All of those links can be found in the description below. So the things that we're going to talk about tonight, just to get you familiar with the terminology, full moon is when the sun and the moon are in opposite signs, symbolizing a peak of illumination, balance, and the integration of opposing energies. So there's a push and a pull with the full moon because the sun is in the opposite sign of the moon, but it also is a time of perfect balance. It's an opportunity for us to create balance in our lives. The full moon is the culmination of the lunar cycle, representing completion, illumination, and heightened emotions. So under the new moon, you set your intentions and you plant seeds. And under the full moon, you start to see the manifestation of your new moon goals. Typically, it can take up to 6 months, right, for a new moon cycle to fully complete, i.e., you start something new under the new moon in spring. Come fall, you're going to then see its full manifestation. But you can also experience manifestation from your new moon goals on the full moon 2 weeks after, depending on the goal, right? If it's a short-term goal, you'll see your manifestation start by the full moon. If it's a long-term goal, it'll be like 6 months or even longer. So 1 degree, this full moon in Capricorn will be at 1 degree. Now, there are 2 full moons in Capricorn in summertime. So we have the one in June, and then we're also going to have the one on July 5th. So we have 2 full moons in Capricorn. Oh, is it July 5th? Hold on. Let me just make sure. There's another full moon. I just got to make sure when that is. I think there's the new moon in Cancer, July 5th. Hold on 1 second. Yeah. So there's a full moon in Capricorn again on Friday, June 20. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, you get one on June 21st, of course. That's one we're talking about now. But also on the 21st of July, we have a full moon. So, yeah, we have another Capricorn full moon on July 21st. But this one's at 1 degree. So it's early Capricorn energy. And each full moon occurs in a specific sign, aligning with a particular degree, emphasizing unique energies and themes. So you want to check to see what house 1 degree of Capricorn falls in your chart for this next lunation on June 21st. The houses are divide the birth chart into 12 sections, representing different areas of your life and experiences. So, for instance, if you have 1 degree of Capricorn in the first house, you're having a full moon in your first house, which has to do with your identity, your appearance, the first impression you make, the actions you take. Your second house has to do with your money, etc., etc., etc. Capricorn is an earth sign known for its ambition, discipline, and practicality, and a strong sense of responsibility. Capricorns are said to age in reverse because they are usually brought into life with a lot of responsibility. Usually they're deprived of a normal childhood because that's just their lot in life. They just have a lot of responsibility. And as they grow older, they are actually able to have more fun. And you'll actually see this physically represented by Capricorns, because a lot of Capricorns look younger at 30 than they did 20. younger at 40 than they did 30, etc. Hello, Sin. Nice to see you. Hey, Casmar. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining tonight. So Capricorn is school of hard knocks. It's about hard work, discipline, nose to the grindstone. Get your work done. Complain about it later. So it is a time to really bring it and get organized. The full moon in Capricorn is a time to embrace ambition, to set practical goals, to release what no longer serves you, and to work diligently toward your long-term success. Capricorn does not like shortcuts. It only believes in what you really have to work for. So get rich quick schemes or lucky breaks, that's not very Capricorn. Capricorn wants sweat equity. So consider where you need to put in your time, where you need to apply some elbow grease during this lunation. So full moons, all full moons are a culmination, time of culmination, completion, and emotional release. So whatever you start under the new moon, it grows and boop, and then you have an illumination of whatever area in your life the full moon is in, depending on the degree. So for this one, it would be 1 degree Capricorn. Wherever you have 1 degree Capricorn, you're experiencing a culmination, completion, and emotional release in that life area. And we'll talk all about that with your Tarotscopes. So after the full moon, we start what is called the waning moon cycle, where the moon is decreasing in energy. And during this period, from June 21st to July 4th, we're going to be releasing energy. We're going to be letting go. So you could look at it as, if you wanted to, the new moon is about drawing energy in, and then the full moon is about letting things go. Some people look at it as you're drawing energy in during the new moon, and then under the full moon, you're removing blocks to whatever goals you may have. So it is a period of letting go, of release. In a lot of respects, too, it's really all about that yin and that yang. I think the way I look at it with the new moon, you want to definitely take inspired action. With the full moon, it's a matter of you can wrap things up, but it is more of a letting go cycle. So you get to relax and let the universe do its thing. As for aspects, we have 2 main aspects we're going to talk about tonight. So Mercury will sextile Mars. That's really nice. The sextile is a 60-degree angle. You can see that here in the blue. So see the blue stripe here? That's Mercury right over here in blue. And then you get Mars over here, another stripe in blue. And both Mercury and Mars are at 9 degrees, but Mercury is in Cancer and Mars is in Taurus. And both Cancer and Taurus are feminine signs. And they make a beautiful 60-degree angle. So they sextile. They're very harmonious. So you got Mercury is the planet of communication, and Mars is about action, drive, and initiative. So these 2 energies, communication and action, drive, and initiative, are harmoniously connecting. So this means for us elevated communication and action. We get to embrace assertiveness and agility in decision-making. And quick thinking will empower effective solutions. We'll be very, very quick to think. It's very harmonious. Then you also have Venus opposite the moon. And I'll show you that here. You see like the orange stripe here. You got Venus, and Venus is smack dab in the middle of Mercury and the sun. And that means because the sun is always opposite the moon during a full moon, Venus is also opposite the moon with a 4-degree orb. So Venus opposite moon, I mean, it's Venus. So if you're going to have an opposition, Venus is a good opposition to have because it's more go along to get along. But yet it's an opposition, of course. So it can bring about tensions, though it offers an opportunity for growth and deeper emotional insight if navigated consciously and with self-awareness. So during your Tarotscopes this evening, we're going to talk about how you can leverage that Venus energy for best effect. And the other thing that's really important, the full moon being Capricorn, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And Saturn is very important because it's the ruler of Capricorn, right? And Saturn is at 19 degrees Pisces. So that 19-degree Pisces is very, very important. So there's something called Sabian symbols. Essentially, they're a set of 360 images corresponding to the Great Wheel of Time, known in astrology as the degrees of the zodiac. Sabian symbols are renowned for their ability to add depth to the interpretation of natal horoscopes, and these symbols have inspired astrologers and non-astrologers alike for the past century. So because it's at 19, Saturn is at 19 degrees Pisces, we round up so we can look at the Sabian symbol for Pisces at 20 degrees. And it's a table set for an evening meal. Dane Rudya, he says that an indication that in the end and at the appointed time, the individual's needs will be met among those to whom he is linked by a spiritual or biological web of energies. So here, Rudya is really talking about the Piscean concept of how we're all one, right? And that our needs will be met by virtue of with whom we're linked through our web of energies, right? So it's a very esoteric concept, how we're all very much connected. But he says our needs are going to be met by those to whom we are connected. Goes on to say the significant element in this scene, and the symbol is a table set for an evening meal. The significant element in this scene is not only the meal, but the fact that it is an evening meal. To use traditional symbolism, after a long chain of personal existences, the soul returns to its spiritual home at the close of the day of manifestation. There it finds that which renews and amply sustains. The happiness of the beyond of existence is experienced if all has gone well. So here he's essentially saying that this symbol is about the work being done, and hopefully if it's done well, there's going to be a lot of abundance. That's essentially what he's saying. It's like you've done the job, you've completed the work, and here's your manifestation. And there's a lot of abundance there. Happiness of the beyond of existence. So again, it's very, very Piscean in the sense that it's a sense of exalted happiness at really a job well done. So I encourage you this full moon to think about what are you setting your table for, right? We're still under, if you're catching this live or before the 21st of June, we're still under the new moon in Gemini energy. So we're still calling in. So come the 21st, what do you want at your table? What things do you want to manifest? Even if they're in your mind, or you can even visualize it as a table that's set. Maybe you want really great health. Maybe you want to fall in love. Maybe you want some new friends. Whatever it is that you want, you are in charge of setting that table, right? So really consider how you're setting your table on a nightly basis, or especially for this full moon. Like, what are you having? How are you setting the table? What are you preparing for? Because your expectations are going to yield your results. If you're preparing for disaster, it's going to be hard for you to manifest success. So prepare for success and really consider, like, what do you want to have in your life this new moon? What full moon? What are you setting the table for? What are you expecting? What are you manifesting? So keep that in mind. So it's a 1 degree Capricorn, as I said. So find out where 1 degree of Capricorn falls in your astrology chart. That's a life area that's highlighted this lunation, and where you'll be releasing blocks and resistance until the new moon in Cancer on July 5th. So we'll start with Aries. So Aries, this full moon in Capricorn, of course, is hitting your 10th house of status. It's about your career, your image. So there's probably this climactic point happening professionally for you. And over the next 2 weeks after June 21st until July 4th, you'll be releasing blocks that keep you from living your best professional life. So you want to release limiting beliefs, you want to embrace ambition, and you want to claim your professional success. What do you want to be known for? Who do you want to be in the world? How do you want the world to see you? What is your passion? That's a huge thing with the 10th house. Because if you're competing against somebody who's more passionate than you, well, it's not going to go very well, right? Because the passion is what gets the fame, right? So Venus is opposite this full moon, and it's in your 4th house, and it's blessing your personal life and your home, your domestic life, your personal life. So what does this mean? You get to utilize your sense of emotional security and your comforts, your creature comforts, whatever makes you feel at home, safe, familiar. You get to do that, and that's going to help your professional life. This is kind of a general rule, really, with anything, because it's an axis, right? So you have a balance, right? You need to be emotionally secure, not to get at the top, but to stay at the top and be comfortable. I always give the example of Nixon. Nixon was a Capricorn, and he reached the climax of his enterprises. He became president, but once he got to the top, what did he do? Well, he couldn't stop biting his fingernails, and he bugged his office, and his paranoia took him over, and he did himself in, and he was disgraced. Why? Because he didn't have a strong emotional foundation. He didn't have that emotional security so that when he got to the top, he could relax and be comfortable there because he didn't feel secure. So he did himself in. So you get to really move forward this full moon, Aries, by really focusing on what makes you feel at home. How can you tap into the divine mother to feel unconditionally loved? Therefore, you're going to be supported to reach your professional goals. So let's see, Aries, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Capricorn. Wisdom for Aries, wisdom for Aries, wisdom for Aries, wisdom for Aries. Victory. 6 of Wands. You can't beat that. So this is a wonderful opportunity for you to go and get that trophy. Where do you want to be the best? Because with the 6 of Wands, this is saying the victory is yours, right? There's already been an event. You can even look at it this way. There's already been an event in which you've won the prize. So what do you have to do in order to make it look good or show your math? You could look at it that way. But there's victory all around you. It's a matter of, can you allow yourself to take on that role and enjoy it, right? Because you look like you're going to be very victorious this full moon. So congratulations. Taurus, this full moon in Capricorn is hitting your 9th house of expansion and growth. So you may get some itchy feet. You're going to want to expand your horizons. The 9th house pertains to education, travel, expansion. So you may want to further your education. You may want to take a class, learn something new, expand, grow. And over those 2 weeks, from the 21st of June till the 4th of July, you want to release any limiting beliefs. You want to embrace new perspective and find out how you can expand your horizon. Now, what's going to help you this full moon is Venus, which is across the way from the full moon, and it's in your 3rd house. So you're blessed when it comes to communications. So this could be allowing yourself, say you're planning a trip. That would be a 9th house thing. Well, the 3rd house would be about finding out exactly what your itinerary is going to be, what your schedule is going to be like, how you're going to get from point A to point B. It also might be a matter of doing some research on what class might be good for you. It also is about communicating and being really a good communicator, because you're blessed when it comes to communication. So if you're looking to expand, definitely think logically and carefully and almost go micro and then go macro to determine how you want to best leverage that 9th house full moon energy. So let's see, Taurus, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Capricorn. Wisdom for Taurus, wisdom for Taurus, wisdom for Taurus, wisdom for Taurus, wisdom for Taurus. 5 of Swords. So 5 of Swords, a few things here. One, it's a matter of, we all have self-interest, right? We're all in our lives. Obviously, we want to love and care about other people, but we're, at the end of the day, we care about ourselves, right? We all have self-interest. there's going to be times in which it's important for you to have self-interest, and there's going to be also times for you to go for the win-win result. Like, how can you win, and how can your partner win, or how can other people in your life win? So you want to make sure that you're watching your back if you feel like you have to, but don't fear defeat. Like, it might be a matter of there's a win-win situation for you in some area of your life. Maybe look at it that way. Otherwise, if your spidey sense is being activated, you might be like, yeah, I got to watch my back. So judge that accordingly. But usually it's good to not fear defeat and to always go for that win-win result whenever you can. So I hope that helps. And happy full moon, Taurus. So Gemini, this full moon will be in your 8th house of rebirth. It's an intense house. Under an 8th house transit, something will probably die and go bye-bye. It's not necessarily a bad thing or a huge thing. It could be a perspective that no longer serves you. Likewise, it could also be a big thing like a job, relationship, living situation, etc. So you're trying to determine during this full moon where it is that you set your boundaries. This needs to be in my life. This doesn't need to be in my life. The 8th house has to do with the boundaries you set and the boundaries you dissolve. So it can be sex, for instance, is dissolving a boundary. Divorce, for instance, is setting a boundary, right? So you want to determine where you need to set or you dissolve your boundaries. Rule of thumb is if something makes you feel bad, well, you set a boundary. If something makes you feel good, well, move in a little closer. Let down your guard. In any case, under this transit, you will be going through some transformation. I'd say over the next 2 weeks from the 21st to the 4th of July, release old attachments, embrace personal empowerment, and embrace changes. So think about what it is that needs to go bye-bye in your life in order for you to be stronger. Because even if you're moving in with somebody, for instance, or even getting a better job, you're leaving one job for another job, you're still going through a death. You're still going through a transition. So even if it's a wonderful change, it's still a change, and you have to mourn the past in order to really reap the benefits of the new beginning. Now, Venus across the way from your 8th house is in your 2nd. And it's blessing your self-worth, your finances, your voice. So I would say with this, you can really make the most of this 8th house transit by voicing what it is that you want, how it is that you feel, what it is that you need, right? Where your boundaries are. You can make the most of this by using your voice. I would say, especially if you're in a business situation or a work situation, this is about saying what your worth is, and essentially saying, this is what I'm asking for financially, for instance. It also is a great time for you to express yourself and to really just allow yourself to feel free and really honor your value. And that is what's going to help you move through these transitions. So whatever you're going through, whatever boundary you're setting, or whatever you're releasing in your life, what's going to help you is your voice and your sense of self-worth. That is your key. And your self-worth is really enhanced right now. This is a good time for you in regard to money. Of course, you got to look at the whole chart, but generally with Venus in the 2nd, it's very positive for you. So let's see, Gemini, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Capricorn. Oops. Wisdom for Gemini. Wisdom for Gemini. Wisdom for Gemini. Perfect. So you get the King of Pentacles. So this is a wonderful financial card. The King is about mastery, and Pentacles is about wealth and money. So be a leader and start something new when you're feeling it, or fulfill something that's already been started, finish something that's already been started with the King of Pentacles. But you want to think about mastery and your material life. Outside of materialism, what are you leaving your heirs, right? What legacy are you leaving behind? This is a good full moon for you to think about that. And really, in light of your 8th house, it's like, what do you need to let go of, or who or what do you need to combine with in order to leave quite a legacy and wealth, be it wealth in terms of experience and knowledge or material wealth, etc. So keep that in mind. And happy full moon, Gemini. So Cancer. This full moon, of course, is hitting your 7th house of partnerships. And it's highlighting your relationships, not just your romantic relationships, but also your professional relationships and your audience, if you have any. So you're releasing old patterns from that 2-week period from the 21st of June to the 4th of July, embracing harmony and cultivating authentic connections. So you got a lot of partnerships happening here. There might be some completion in terms of a partnership in your life. You might be making an adjustment to a partnership in your life. You might be saying goodbye to somebody. You might be going deeper with somebody, etc. Now, Venus, across the way from your 7th, of course, is in your 1st because Venus is in Cancer. So what that means is that your energy, your aura is very, very blessed. So you're blessed, Cancer, when it comes to matters of self-assertion. You're blessed when it comes to your appearance. This is a wonderful time to get a makeover or buy some new clothes or beautify yourself in some capacity, just to reflect more the internal changes that you may have gone through, your true self, right? You're blessed when it comes to your communications, how you take action. So I feel like if you want to make strides this full moon, it's really about asserting yourself in a very loving, caring way, but yet effectively, right? And you want to really tap into that 1st house energy, all that love and all that abundance that's around you. That can really prevent any arguments. That could make something go a lot better than you had anticipated. So if there's anything going on in your partnerships that you want to smooth over, all you need to do is show up and be loving and use your voice and take action, and that ought to help you. So let's see, Cancer, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Capricorn. Wisdom for Cancer, 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 wisdom for Cancer. Knight of Swords. So you are going to be very busy, most likely, this full moon cycle, Cancer. So Knight of Swords is the epitome of goal-oriented activity. Also, it sometimes can require it can sometimes bring changes that require fast, competent reactions. So you're going to be probably really, really busy. I would say that with the Knight of Swords, this might be just really being direct and being very, very honest and calling things out, not being too sidestepping. Cancer's the crab, right? So they don't attack. They're not very direct, right? They're like the crab. They walk sideways. And this would indicate that, with Knight of Swords, you sometimes need to be really direct. And I think that's your advice, Cancer. Like, be very, very clear, and you don't really have time to mince words. I would say with Knight of Swords, you do have that Venus energy around you, and that should soften things. But the Knight of Swords is saying, you might need to call things out. There might need to be a come to Jesus moment that you have with somebody. And with the Knight of Swords, it's really about get really focused on what matters to you. Like, got to be really zoned in, which does make sense with the Capricorn moon. So happy full moon, Cancer. So Leo, this full moon in Capricorn is hitting your 6th house of lifestyle. So it's highlighting your work, your day-to-day regimes, your health. So you're releasing old routines, maybe old habits that no longer serve you. You're embracing vitality and striving for that holistic sense of well-being. So you got to find the right combination of things that make you well and happy. What do you need to do day in and day out in order to get your life running like a well-oiled machine? What are the nuts and bolts of your day-to-day operations? How are you balancing work and health, play and work, etc.? Now, Venus is in your 12th house, and that's blessing your subconscious, your introspection, and your sense of who you subconsciously believe that you are, your beliefs. And you can really tap into that Venus energy this full moon through self-care. So essentially, you are going through a full moon and it's hitting your day-to-day conscious life. The sixth house is I am doing this, I am doing that. It's schedules, it's routines, it's processes. But you're blessed with Venus right now, also in your 12th house. So what that means is that the subconscious part of yourself is actually really blessed. So what would this mean? You can really just program your subconscious to take on the habits or release the habits that you no longer want. So this is a wonderful time to get extra sleep and to give yourself suggestions before you go to sleep. Say, as I sleep, I allow all my cells to restore to perfect health. As I sleep, I'm going to feel as if I got twice the amount of sleep than I got. I'm going to feel like I got twice the amount of sleep when I wake up. Like whatever it is that you tell yourself, but don't give yourself the luxury of negative thought this full moon, and really tap into meditations, visualizations, anything that you can do to get in your subconscious mind how you want things to be. It's like mental rehearsal, right? It's what, athletes do all the time, right? They rehearse how they're going to hit the ball, right? They rehearse what they're going to do. So I would do that. Like, how do you want to show up and how can you really program your subconscious? And in light of your sixth house, if you want to release something, well, you can create a new program in your mind, right? You can give yourself some suggestions to help you release any habits that don't serve you or implement some new habits that you think might. So let's see, Leo, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Capricorn. Wisdom for Leo, wisdom for Leo, wisdom for Leo, wisdom for Leo. Ah, you got your card, Leo. The Strength card. So in the Strength card, the woman is gently prying open or closed, depending on your perspective, the lion's mouth. So this essentially is suggesting that you sometimes don't want to use brute force. You want to be gentle, and that gentleness that you're applying or are being asked to apply, the gentleness that the woman is applying to the lion comes from the heart, right? It's from that patience. It's that strength. From your strength will come forth sweetness. So you want to essentially guide your inner lion toward what it is that you want. And say, for instance, you're wanting to curtail something, a habit in your life, you want to drop a habit or implement a habit. Again, you've got to really work with your will and direct it and say, okay, well, I know we're used to doing this, but we need to do this now. So we're going to try. And really, the Strength card, it is about your will. So really just think about what you want your day-to-day lifestyle to be like. Because the sixth house, we overlook it, I think, a lot, but that's really important, how you live your day-to-day life. And you deserve the best, right? So think about what changes you can make in order to manifest what it is that you want, and don't feel like you have to blow a gasket. Don't feel like you have to use brute force or be too tough with yourself. At the same time, don't be too easy with yourself. Be sure you're closing or opening that lion's mouth. You have to use a certain degree of strength, but it can't be too forceful, right? So be gentle with yourself, but also discipline and using your will to manifest what you want. So happy full moon. Oh, you have to be gentle with your healing. Patience is a thing. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad that resonates, and happy full moon to you. So Virgo, the full moon in Capricorn is hitting your fifth house. That's really nice. It's a time of fun and pleasure. That full moon will be highlighting anything that lights you up. Creativity, romantic matters. So what you want to do under a fifth house transit for that 2 weeks from the 21st of June to the 4th of July, release anything that makes you feel bad. Like no criticizing yourself, embrace your self-expression, ignite joyful passions, do what makes you happy and lights you up. There could be a romantic matter that comes to a head. There could be some project that you complete. You might get a lot of joy through a creative project because this rules your creations. If you have any children, there could be a completed cycle around them, or there might be a lot of activity around your children if you have children under this transit. Now, meanwhile, Venus is across the way from your 5th in your 11th, and it's blessing your dreams, and it's bringing you support from your community or your friends. So say you're really in need of some fun. Well, this would suggest that you find a group to go and have fun with, or you grab some friends and you say, let's do something. Let's have a great time, or let's embark on this creative project. It also could be a matter of really leveraging groups for your expansion. I mean, really, say you want to do something creative, it is kind of smart to get involved in a group, because what winds up happening when you're in a group setting, or like say you're in a class, say you're a writer and you're thinking about taking a class. Well, what's really cool about that is that we're all mentally, telepathically connected, and we're all talking to each other. So if you're in a group setting with a whole bunch of other writers, you're getting telepathic connections from them. You're getting their experiences, what they learned from reading this, what they learned in other classes. So it gets you going and it moves you. And I think there is a natural and healthy competitive spirit that is catalyzed when you're in a group setting. So definitely tap into your group, your tribe, your friends to help you with your creations. I'd also say, if you're looking for romance, you may want to join a group, or even talk to your friends, spread the word and say, I'm looking for this, or I want that. So let's see, Virgo, what wisdom you get from your tarot for your full moon in Capricorn. Wisdom for Virgo. Wisdom for Virgo. Wisdom for Virgo. Wisdom for Virgo. The Magician. I love it. So Mercury is the ruler of the Magician. So every card has either an astrological correspondence or a planetary reference, right? The Magician doesn't have an astrological correspondence, but has a planetary reference. Its planetary reference is Mercury, and Virgo is ruled by Mercury. It's one of two signs ruled by Mercury, the other one being Gemini. So this is your card. You get to create miracles. You can create whatever it is that you want. So now it's a matter of really looking what is going to bring you joy and how can you manifest that, right? And you can get some extra help from Venus, your friends or groups and whatnot. But this card is essentially green light. Go for it. Follow your excitement. Do what lights you up and makes you happy. And allow yourself to remember that you're not the source of the miracle. You're borrowing the light and you're flowing it through your personality, your energy, right? And that's how you create your purpose. You borrow energy from the light, you filter it through your being, and you express yourself, and that's how you're sharing the light, through your personality. So when it comes to the Magician, it's important to remember that you're powerful because you're connected to nature. You're an extension of nature, right? And that's what the Magician does. It taps into the universal forces and creates what seem like miracles. Problem is, when the Magician thinks that he's the source of the power and not a conduit, that's when it's a problem, because then your ego gets in the way, then you get self-conscious, then you self-sabotage, or you have imposter syndrome. So if you just realize that you're allowing yourself to take energy from light, flow it through you, and serve your purpose, that might make things easier. And it also takes the heat off you, right? You're not going to feel like, oh, I'm an imposter. Well, you know that you're not the source of your greatness. You are great, sure, but you're borrowing that energy, and that actually might give you a certain sense of humbleness that allows you to create miracles. So keep that in mind, Virgo, and happy full moon. So Libra, this full moon in Capricorn is hitting your 4th house of home and family. So it's highlighting emotional security. What makes you feel warm and fuzzy and yummy inside and all tucked in. And really, you'll find out what doesn't, right? If something is undermining your emotional security during this transit, it's going to be an opportunity for you to say, okay, I don't need this nonsense in my life, right? But there is probably some kind of emotional or domestic matter that's going to come to a head. There could be celebrations and honor gatherings and just really cool things with home and family members. Over the 2 weeks from this full moon period, from the 21st of June to the 4th of July, it's going to be important for you to release old patterns, to embrace harmony, and to create a nurturing sanctuary. So you can do that literally, obviously, by creating more comfort in your home. But remember, you bring your home around with you wherever you go. So an emotionally secure person is not going to feel insecure when she is on vacation at a hotel, right? Because she has her emotional security. So what do you need to do to really tap into the energy of the Divine Mother and nurture yourself in such a way that you feel emotionally secure? Because what this full moon is going to do, it's going to bring up where there might be issues in that regard, right? You might also get illuminated to the notion, I'm really emotionally secure at this point. I'm really, really comfortable and I feel really secure. And hopefully that's the case. If not, you know what you need to do. You need to release something, most likely. Meanwhile, across the way from that full moon in your fourth is Venus in your 10th, blessing your career. So I would say that really what you can do to balance this or really make the most of Venus is really tap into that father energy and be very, very disciplined when it comes to your self-care. You also might find that the great things that you're able to do professionally, there might be some kind of carryover. For instance, you might be like, I don't know how I'm going to deal with this with your husband, right? But if you think about it, you deal with things professionally perfectly. So why not handle your husband in a way that you might handle a colleague, right? You might actually find that that's helpful. So essentially, you have your career very blessed during this period. Anything that you can gain from your career, be it the experiences that you've had or the identity that you have to play in your job, you can apply that to your emotional life and you can actually reap some benefits. I think the main thing is to make sure that you're being very disciplined in saying, okay, this is what I need to do in order to feel as perfect as possible. So let's see, Libra, what wisdom you get for your full moon in Capricorn. Wisdom for Libra, wisdom for Libra, wisdom for Libra, Libra. Ooh, the sun. What a wonderful card. So the sun is the highest energy card in the deck. This is about victory and celebration, the best news in terms of friends, great in terms of business. This is your day in the sun. So this could be a birth. This could be a lot of really, really good things. But essentially, it's a highly positive card and the most positive card, I'd say, in the deck. And it also is about new beginnings. So even though it's a full moon and that's about endings, this is a brand new beginning in which things are going to be a lot brighter for you. So I would just prepare for really good things. And really, because it's a fourth house transit, there might be some really good things around your child. If you have a child, specifically a son, right? Because there's that double meaning with the sun card. But this is a really positive card. I would say that you want to just make sure that you're letting yourself have your day in the sun. How would you feel if you were a sun god? How would you feel if you were a sun goddess? You'd probably feel very bright, confident, self-assured, profoundly aware of your power, and shining on everybody, right? So I would just look at it that way. How would you feel if you were a sun god or sun goddess? That might help you really make the most of this full moon transit. So happy full moon, Libra. So Scorpio, happy full moon, Scorpio. This will be in your third house of communication. Pretty easy. Highlights communication, learning, mindset. Essentially, there might be a lot of communications that you're having to deal with. This might be a very busy, busy, busy time for you, Scorpio, with lots of things to do. At the same time, it's a really great opportunity for you to understand your mindset and how you think about things. Because when we look at things differently, the things that we look at change, right? So it could be a matter of using that full moon energy and that waning cycle from the 21st of June to the 4th of July to release old perspectives, to embrace expression and knowledge. You might find that you really want to learn something. You also might be saying, I am done learning this. I'm done going to this place all the time. I'm done socializing with these people, because it is a third house transit. Meanwhile, Venus is across the way from this full moon in your third, in your ninth, blessing your mind, and your thirst for new experiences. So you might find that really, in order to get some better perspective, you need to go on a trip. Maybe you need to go on a trip and you need to get out of your familiar surroundings. Venus is blessing your 9th house, so foreign trips could be very, very favorable to even plan them around this full moon cycle. It also might be a matter of what you need to do in order to really balance this full moon energy is to really think bigger picture. It might be about, taking a class or furthering your education or seeing things from a bigger picture perspective. Essentially, the full moon for you is going to be zoning in, and it's about more like the minutia and like the details. The 3rd house is more about like logic and what you have right in front of you. How do you get from A to B to C? Whereas the 9th house, where you're blessed this full moon, is thinking about things more abstractly in a broader way. What does this all mean? What are we doing here? So more broader topics might really help you manage. To look at things from a higher vantage point might help you determine what really matters. Because with a full moon in the 3rd, it could be about information overload. So what you might want to do in order to understand, in order to make the most of this full moon, is see things from a higher vantage point and be like, okay, big picture, what really matters to me? And is this noise that's going on here, or is this drama, or is this conversation, does this really matter to me from a big picture perspective? And chances are it won't. A lot of it won't. So then you get to say, okay, I'm not giving my energy to this anymore. Because the problem with the full moon transit is in the 3rd house, especially with all this Gemini energy, I mean, you can only focus on so much. So I would just really look at it that way. Think about how you can think big picture and then really curtail your and energy expenditures. Don't spend too much time thinking about things that are stupid or do not matter for you at this time in your life. So let's see, Scorpio, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Capricorn. Wisdom for Scorpio. Wisdom for Scorpio. Wisdom for Scorpio. Scorpio. Knight of Wands. So Knight of Wands has to do with very, very quick departures. And it's about really distancing yourself from the familiar. So this might be you just making a clean break in some area of your life, especially 3rd house. Say you're around like a group or a social setting, and that just doesn't really punch your ticket anymore. The Knight of Wands, like, just be like lightning, go. Just, you don't need to announce your departure. You're not in an airport. Just leave, right? Likewise, the Knight of Wands is like lightning. It's like, I get an idea and you're going to implement it. And that could also be what you wind up doing. But you want to utilize that fiery knight-like energy with the Knight of Wands. And you want to allow yourself to distance yourself from the familiar. And the Knight of Wands actually aligns with your 9th house where Venus is. So this card does make sense. This could be about going on a trip. This could also be about moving. The Knight of Wands can also herald moves, and they might be fast moves too. Not always, but that is one of the meanings. If you're not happy in your home, I would say most important for most people, it is about distancing yourself from those communications that are no longer relevant to you, that no longer align with who you've become, if that makes sense. So happy full moon, Scorpio. Sagittarius, happy full moon in Capricorn, Sag. So this full moon is hitting your 2nd house of money, of your values, of your self-worth. That's nice. So over the 2 weeks from the full moon, which would be the 21st of June to the 4th of July, you're releasing any scarcity mindset, anything that makes you fearful about abundance. You want to embrace abundance, and you want to align with your true worth. You want to really know how valuable you are. You want to be able to know what you bring to the table and not be afraid to eat alone. So know your self-worth. Meanwhile, Venus across the way from your 2nd is blessing your 8th. So there's some really good things for you when it comes to transformation, death, rebirth, metamorphosis, and you might find yourself doing really, really well. Oh, thank you very much, Casmar. That's very nice of you. I appreciate that. Sagittarius, sorry. You might find yourself doing very, very well when it comes to connecting with other people, because you got the 8th house that's being blessed. So you actually might move really much further when you're combining resources with somebody else. It also might be a matter of you're getting more intimate, not just with others, but first and foremost with yourself. So it's all about your boundaries. That's where you're blessed right now, where you set them and when you dissolve them. So if you're looking to increase your self-worth during this period or your income, well, go to the 8th house and really look at, okay, well, maybe I need to combine resources with somebody else in order to feel stronger financially. Or maybe I need to create a boundary with somebody in order to feel better about my life, etc. So it's all about boundaries. That's where you're blessed. So let's see, Sagittarius, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Capricorn. Wisdom for Sagittarius. 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 9 of Swords. All right. Well, the Sagittarian plight is that they think too much, right? Because every gift is a curse, and Sag is probably the most intelligent sign. They're really the most broad-minded. But 9 of Swords, the good news with 9 of Swords, you're just driving yourself nuts. Nobody's really being cruel to you, but you might be overanalyzing, overthinking things. So know when to call it quits, and don't overanalyze. Don't overthink things, because when you overthink and you think too much, then you lose choice, and that's really important for you. So don't overthink it. Just make the decision. I think in light of your 2nd house, how valuable a person do you want to be? Do you want to be a high value individual? Well, then make that decision and then act like one, and then continue to act like one. Trust that you're going to act like one and maintain acting like a high value person, right? So just don't worry so much. It might help you with your 9 of Swords here that we got tonight to do some journaling, just to get everything out. You know, sometimes that's what we need to do. We just need to have a brain dump so we can actually make sense of our thoughts. But don't overthink. What might also help is to get more in touch with your body, your physicality, also your emotions. You might need a good cry. But it's or even with your fire, your spirituality, your exercise, etc. But just stay out of your head as much as you can. And happy full moon, Sag. And Capricorn, happy full moon in your sign, Capricorn. Well, this is exciting. So this full moon is going to be highlighting your self-image, your personality, how you present yourself. It's a time from that full moon period, that waning moon cycle, from the 21st of June to the 4th of July, to release any self-doubt. You want to embrace your authenticity. You want to step into your own authority. So it's all about you. What are you representing at this time in your life? Who do you want to be? Because that's who you are, right? And you get to make that decision. We make that decision all the time. And for you, this is a very important time to make that decision. Who do you want to be? Now, meanwhile, Venus is across from your 1st and your 7th house of relationships. So what's cool is your relationships are really blessed during this period. And it can really strengthen your connections, that placement of Venus. So Venus is going to be helping you with this full moon. One thing to remember is you can't be you unless your partner is truly them. So instead of being like upset, why are you like this, to a partner that you have, well, that's a good thing, because in them being like that, you get to be more you. You can't be you unless your partner is them. So you could look at it that way. I also would say with Venus in the 7th, if you need any help moving into new areas or cultivating a new dynamic around you, or even a new look around you, well, you can partner up and you could find somebody that can really help you during this period. The 7th house does have to do with, well, Well, it's all types of relationships, even consultants. You could find the perfect therapist during this period for yourself if you wanted to. You could find a really good friend, a long-term friend. But your partnerships are definitely blessed. So definitely keep that in mind in your search for identity and understanding more of who you are. So let's see, Capricorn, what wisdom you get from the tarot for the full moon in your sign. Wisdom for Capricorn. Wisdom for Capricorn. Wisdom for Capricorn. Wisdom for Death. Which is fine. So the death card, essentially, it's an empowerment card. What needs to die in your life in order for you to be more empowered? What has been sticking around long past its sell-by date, right? Capricorn's a very, very tough cookie, right? They can deal with a lot of baloney, right? So with the death card, this is a card of saying that it actually is just too much. It's now becoming detrimental. Something needs to end. It doesn't have to be anything big or momentous. It could be a perspective shift. It could be something, you know, really small that you've been planning on getting rid of for a while. But the death card does talk about there being huge change during this period for you. So think about what makes you stronger and how you can lean into that more. And if anything is undermining your strength or disempowering you, you need to call it quits. You need to let it go. With the death card, you might be experiencing a lot of feelings during this period, right? It is a full moon in your sign, which is pretty intense. You might feel like you're going through this series of deaths, like all these deaths are happening around you. So it's important for you to be flexible. It's important for you to be gentle with yourself and to really let go. Know where you need to surrender, right? Because these little deaths that we have, the end of a job, the end of a relationship, the end of a friendship, etc., they're preparing us for that big death, right? And it's only to make us more empowered, really, when the death card shows up. It's all about renewal. So let go of the past, anything in the past that no longer serves you, and allow yourself to just be lighter and more flexible, and that ought to serve you well. So happy full moon, Capricorn, in your sign. So Aquarius, this full moon in Capricorn is transiting your 12th house. 12th house is the house of the subconscious. So you might be wanting more privacy from the 21st of June to the 4th of July. There's a light that's being shown in your subconscious mind, which is a big deal, because when you find out your subliminal beliefs, your subconscious beliefs, limiting beliefs and whatnot, you can then reprogram yourself and say, no, I need to think in this way. I think this because of that, and that's not right. So remember, you're born into a context in which, just by nature of being born into a context from which you know nothing else, you're going to adopt your parents' beliefs, even the ones you don't want, unless you actively change them. If you do not actively change what your parents taught you by virtue of their example, you will be very much like your parents. And what Aquarius likes that, right? So this is a great time for you to get some extra sleep, to program your subconscious, to do vision boards and to visualize and do affirmations, all those things. There's plenty of resources in this description of this video that will help you to focus your attention on what you want and change your beliefs. Meanwhile, Venus is in Cancer in your 6th house, which is really nice. So it's blessing your day-to-day lifestyle. So this is really good. What does this mean? It means that you can incorporate in your lifestyle routines that help you program your subconscious mind, which is super important, because we get in life what we subconsciously believe we are, not what we want, right? So with Venus blessing your 6th, be sure to create a routine for yourself in which you're on a regular basis giving yourself affirmations or thinking about what it is that you want. A lot of people just set alarms, like 3 alarms a day to focus on an affirmation. I'd also say that with that 6th house being blessed by Venus right now, your day-to-day lifestyle should be a lot more cushy. Work and health matters, you should be feeling really, really good. So it's a wonderful time to really take advantage of this downtime or ease or flow or just blessings in terms of work and health, and really utilize that to take the time to sleep more, rest more, indulge in visualizations, and really take the time to program your subconscious as much as possible. So let's see what wisdom you get from the Tarot, Aquarius, for your full moon in Capricorn. Wisdom for Aquarius. Wisdom for Aquarius. Wisdom for Aquarius. Wisdom for Aquarius. 10 of Wands. So 10 of Wands, I mean, you are going through a 12th house transit. So the problem with that is that it can really stir up your mind, your subconscious mind, and it can make you more anxiety prone at times. It can make your subconscious mind overactive. So I feel like with the 10 of Wands, the last thing you want to do is this. You need to release the pressure valve during a 12th house transit. This is not a transit for you to give yourself extra pressure. It's the exact opposite. You want to let go and let God during a 12th house transit. So I would say that with the 10 of Wands, like if there's some pressure and it's probably self-induced, that you need to release it and relax. You need to take a beat. Don't give yourself this pressure. Likewise, the 10 of Wands is a fulfillment. So it could be a matter of that pressure is now over. And now you get to relax more and enjoy your life more, right? But in any case, don't put pressures on yourself. Release burdens and allow yourself to not care so much about certain things, right? I think with the 12th house transit, you win by letting go. You win by letting go and letting God, and that is not this. So release your burdens and don't put pressure on yourself and get some extra rest. And happy full moon, Aquarius. And last but never least, Pisces, my fishies. Happy full moon in Capricorn, Pisces. This one's easy peasy for you. I mean, it's hitting, you got to look at your whole chart, of course, but it is hitting your 11th house. That's a nice one. So it's about your friends, it's about your hopes, your dreams, your wishes, your community, and the full moon shining a light on those areas of your life. So there might be something coming to a head with a friendship or a group. There might be some celebration regarding friends or your groups. You also might be like, oh, I need to change my group. I need a new friend or new friends, right? And when it comes to your dreams, you might be finding that this full moon gives you an opportunity to really shine a light on this is the goal. This is what would make me happy. This is my vision, right? And then what you can do from the 21st of June to the 4th of July is release any limitations about your dreams. You want to embrace collective connections because there's the power of the group that's illuminated this full moon, and manifest your vision. Manifest your visionary aspirations. Meanwhile, across the way from the full moon in your 11th is Venus in your 5th, blessing your creativity and your joyous self-expression. Anything that lights you up is ruled by the 5th house. So your creativity right now is really, really blessed. Also, if you have children, there's a lot of really good things around them. So you can essentially utilize your creative self-expression, whatever lights you up, your joyfulness, to help you achieve your goals, your dreams. Also, it could be a great time for you to really express yourself, 5th house, Venus, in the group, or finding a group that is going to help you express yourself. And I would say, just as an aside, if you don't feel as if you can be your authentic, most creative self in your group, well, then you probably need a new group. But there's a wonderful, wonderful energy in your 5th house of things that bring you joy. So be sure to find joy in the groups that you're in, the friendships that you're experiencing, and friends you're spending time with, but also en route to your dreams when you're pursuing your dreams. Make sure that the journey is really joyful because it's a transference of energy. Like if you have a joyful journey, your destination is going to be joyful. So keep that in mind. And let's see, Pisces, what wisdom you get from the Tarot for your full moon in Capricorn. Wisdom for Pisces. Wisdom for Pisces. Wisdom for Pisces. Whoa, a card fell out. Wisdom for Pisces. Wisdom for Pisces. Wisdom for Pisces. The Star card. How perfect is this? Because the Star card aligns with Aquarius, which aligns with the 11th house, which is exactly where this full moon transit is for you. It's in your 11th house. So the Star card is about hopes, dreams, wishes, ideals, great plans for the future. It gives you that sigh of relief, that sense of a clear night sky in which you're realizing things are going to be a lot better for you. So I'd say with the Star card, find your inspiration, find out, what lights you up, what do you feel like your purpose might be? And that's another message when it comes to the Star card. It's finding your purpose. Because when you find your purpose and you're like, okay, this is what I want to do, the universe will help you. So the Star card is really very, very positive. It's all about hope. It also is about healing and rejuvenation and doing those things that allow you to feel lifted and exalted, right? So I would really tap into your creative gifts. Definitely follow your excitement this full moon and have a happy one. So thank you all so much for joining me today. I do appreciate it, whether you're catching this live or you're watching the replay. If you're interested in a personal reading, psychicsun.com is my website. You can find information about all my services there, as well as horoscopes for this lunation. You'll find your horoscopes for this lunation. And if you are catching this live or you're around any Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, I do This Week Astrology, and tomorrow, if you're catching this live, is no exception. So I will be here for This Week Astrology at 1 p.m. Eastern on Friday. So everybody have a wonderful, happy full moon, and I shall see you soon. Bye-bye.